Hello, I hope you are well and welcome back to my channel, Hannah Tay. Today I want to talk about a controversy, and that is the Salt Path controversy, and then a broader discussion about non-fiction and my opinion on what I feel about the whole situation. So the Salt Path controversy is that a woman brought out a book that was based on her life called The Salt Path, and it was about her and her husband, in her words, had been conned out of their house. And then they decided to go on this kind of walking tour after her husband was given a terminal diagnosis, and they began living this nomad lifestyle where they were homeless and they were living in a tent and they were exploring England and how beautiful it is, and it kind of gave them back their life because their life had been so miserable before. And that's what the book is about, and it's based on their lives. Now it's come out that actually they weren't kind of conned out of their house. She was accused of embezzlement, and so then she began to pay back the money that she was accused of embezzling, and that's how they ended up losing their house. And then there is also controversy about maybe his diagnosis, but I don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to really go into that, but that there's something wrong with his diagnosis. Anyway, I wanted to not so much focus on that story because I feel like so many different channels have spoken about that, and that the publishing houses not doing their due diligence, and can they really be trusted when it comes to non-fiction. That's more what I want to talk about. I always assume that a non-fiction book that is written about the person who's telling the story about their life or their experience is peppered with dishonesty. I just do. I just think you wouldn't give the true portrayal because you are self-conscious and you know that other people are going to be reading it and they're going to be judging you. So every time I pick up a non-fiction book and the story is about the person who has written the book, I always assume that there's some exaggeration. There's some of their own, my truth, meaning, there's their truth, there's my truth, then there's a truth in the middle, and that they'll be leaning more into their truth and their interpretation of things, and that might not actually be the fact of the matter. I also just assume that it's human nature to make yourself look the best as you can, not to massively over-exaggerate and turn yourself into a saint, but that if you have done something wrong, or if you were having an argument with someone and they said something really hurtful to you, that maybe you wouldn't disclose the thing that you said to them which triggered them to say the hurtful comment to you, because maybe you think it's not justified. What they said to me was so much more hurtful than what I ever said to them, so why should I even bother what I said to them? So we'll just skip over that. We'll take that little element out and throw that in the bin and act like they've just come after me for no reason. Another point is this is a book. It's supposed to be entertaining, and it was entertaining enough that it was turned into a Hollywood film, and that's why everyone's talking about it, and that's why there was so much research by journalists trying to find out if this story is actually true. And so there is a part of that it's for entertainment. So she may have not wanted to say the truth about certain things or exaggerate other things because she's writing something that she knows people are going to read for entertainment purposes. This isn't her giving testimony in a court of law and having to stick to the facts because she's going to be cross-examined. This is her just stating an entertaining story about a period within her life, and maybe exaggerating, and maybe her making herself out to be the victim when maybe she is the villain. There are obviously different slices of the story. So the main bit that I've spoken about is non-fiction. Do we believe it? I don't believe a word. When a celebrity brings out a book about their own life and they have been involved in the writing of the book, I don't believe a pinch of it. I think that their PR team is all over it, smothered themselves on it and gone, no, June, you can't say you did that because people might be annoyed. You can't say you voted for this person because then the other side of politics are going to be annoyed with you. No, you can't, you could have said that back then, but you can't say that now. And I think that it's heavily edited in favour of the person that the book is about. Now, if someone else is, of course, writing a book about, say, Marilyn Monroe, then you probably are going to get a more honest portrayal than if the book was written by Marilyn Monroe, because there might be certain elements that she wouldn't want within the book because they're unpleasant things about her life, whereas if someone is writing it about her, it's very different. And so with non-fiction, just to summarise my points on it, I always think it's a lie. I always think there must be some truth, some line of truth throughout it, but that a lot of it is exaggeration or lies. I never believe it cover for cover, even though you're supposed to, because it's non-fiction, it's supposed to be, this is factual, this is someone telling you what happened in their life. I just don't believe that as humans we would write something that would make us look terrible. Another side of this is, of course, the publishers. How did the publishers not find this information out? She was accused of embezzlement, and then she had also agreed to pay back the money, and that's how she ended up losing her house. How did they not just find that out themselves? They just took her on her word that it had been some kind of scam, some kind of con, and that's how she had lost her house. And also with his diagnosis, did they not ask for medical records? So that is kind of mad that they got this huge publishing deal, and then it got turned into a Hollywood film, and the whole basis of the truth of how they ended up desolate, losing the house, and then why they went on this trip is because of his diagnosis. If both of those are untrue, then that is a massive, for the publishers and the big film that was made out of it. That's just crazy that no one checked that. To summarize, self-preservation. That's it. We all have self-preservation within us, that we want to make ourselves seem the best as possible, and that if we are trusted to write something that has to be honest about ourselves, we can't be trusted. We shouldn't be trusted. So I'm not coming here to kind of bash individual people about it. I just wanted to talk about the concept of everyone being so angry about this now, and that they fully believe that non-fiction is non-fiction, which I just don't believe at all. Maybe I'm a cynic. Maybe I'm just a bitter little cow. I don't know. But I never believe it, ever. If it's someone writing about someone else's life, yeah, 100% I believe that. They probably have got the facts, but they probably also have their own biases. Because, I like, oh God, I could talk forever, sorry. But I like Anne Boleyn. I've read a lot of books about Anne Boleyn, and you can tell straight away whether the author likes Anne Boleyn or not, likes her as a person, I'm talking about. And that's even in a non-fiction book. So there are certain people who write of her as this callous, scheming, hard-faced, horrible woman who came in and severed Henry's ties to the church, and England was never the same after this witch came along. And then there are other people who see her more as a victim within the whole situation. And so you can tell straight away. And the book is just supposed to be non-fiction, telling you the facts about her life or about a period within her life. But you can tell it's peppered with their own personal opinions within it. And that's why certain authors you love of non-fiction, then you read all their books because you like their perspective on things. Anyway, I don't believe non-fiction, okay? I don't. I'm going to end this here. Tell me what you think of the Salt Path controversy, and I will see you again soon for another video. I do 3 videos a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. They're all uploaded before 9 AM. I'm going to end this video here, and I'll see you again soon for another video.